Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am finally getting this video up for you guys. We're going to be talking about one of the Pat McGrath Blitz Astral Quads. I've been promising you guys this video for a while, and I decided I was going to do a dedicated video to each quad. So today we're going to be talking about these names are so long I can never remember them, the iconic Illumination quad. This is the one that has the red and the brown in there, and I would say is probably the most neutral, if you will. I don't know that any of these is what I would deem like everyday wearable. We'll get into that, but it's what I have on my lids today. So I'm going to be giving you some information, obviously some swatches from here. I'll be giving you my thoughts on this quad, and then we'll be going through this demo, which was really easy. So let's go ahead and get into the background of this quad. So this is one of 3 Blitz Astral Quads that Pat McGrath has come out for holiday 2019. She's come out with a lot of things for holiday. She's kind of like bundled them in different ways. There's these 3 quads, there's some lipsticks, and then there are 2 cream highlighters. So I'm going to be doing a dedicated video to each of the quads. And I didn't get any of the lipsticks because none of them are actually new colors. They're all just sort of repackaged in like the different coloring. So the originals come in the black, and so the holiday ones, I think there's like red, pink. So I decided to pass on all of those. I did get the cream highlighters. I did not like them. So spoiler alert, they're actually going to show up in one of my fails videos, which I'm going to film after I get all these quads up. Anyway, let's get into this iconic Illumination quad. So I purchased these off of the Pat McGrath site. So each quad is $65, and they are now also available on the Sephora site along with the Pat McGrath site. And I do believe they're available in store also. Anyway, I'm not sure, but they are definitely online at Sephora and Pat McGrath. And just as a side note, I did hear that the Sephora VIB sale is going to start November 1st, which is very soon. I do plan on getting a recommendations video up for you guys. And that's another reason why I wanted to get these videos up for this, because these could end up being in the recommendations or very useful when you guys are kind of creating your shopping list. These quads are basically like the last 4 shades in one of her Mothership palettes. So I just grabbed the Bronze Seduction palette, it's the closest one to me. So she has 10 shades in these Mothership palettes. The first 6, or I should say the 6 to the left, are more kind of typical shades. They're either pressed powders, or they're like a very creamy kind of shimmery shade, or maybe they're kind of like a pressed glitter, which is this one. And then she always has these 4 shades at the end, which not only appear different, you can actually see that they don't look like pressed shadows. They look like they're baked, and they perform, or they behave, I should say, they behave very differently. They're just of a baked formula. They're definitely going to feel a little bit harder in the pan. They won't seem as dusty as like a pressed shadow, let's say as this one, but you'll see that when you do work them that there'll be little bits of it that kind of fly around. And they're very unique to Pat McGrath. I think not only the formula, but the way that they end up appearing on the lids, very unique. So she has come out with other eyeshadow palettes. Like she came out with these 6-pan eyeshadow palettes, and I just wanted to point out that in these palettes, they're all like the first 6 shades in her Mothership palettes. And so here we didn't have those special baked shades. And then she came out with like the smaller, you know, the plasticky one with the little 5 shades in there. Those are also like a cream to powder kind of formula, but still much more similar to shades that you'll find on this side of her palette. So I was really happy to see a quad just of these like special baked shades. And I was also really happy to see that she put it in basically like Mothership palette packaging. It's the same thing as these big ones, but just small. So these 4 shadows, it's almost like if you would have like cracked this Mothership palette off and just had those 4 shades, you end up with this. All of the shades in these new quads though are brand new. So you're not going to find them in the old Mothership shades. There are no repeats here. So anyway, that's what these quads are. Let me just show you the packaging. So they came in a box. This one comes in the red colored box, and the whole thing is very, very similar to the mothership. So it comes in this box. The palette actually comes out of the box. It has a card on the inside that has the shade names on there. And then here is a closer look at this quad on the inside. So we've got 4 shades there. And let me show you some swatches of these on my arm. So I swatched them from left to right, top to bottom. So we have Astral Gold Allure, Blitz Bordeaux, Blitz Brown, and Bronze Gold 003. I've gotten a lot of comments when I talk about these mothership palettes, a lot of comments about how you guys just don't like these last 4 shades. You find that there's a lot of fallout, that you just kind of don't know what to do with them. And as pretty as they are, they just seem like a little too much even. So I wanted to make sure I did a look with only the shades in this palette. Although I want to say that I think that these palettes are very, very good like partner palettes to maybe an all matte palette that you may have, or if you just have kind of like a really neutral palette, you just kind of want to amp it up for maybe a party, a holiday party, Halloween, you're going out to dinner, just something, or you're just bored, you know, and you just want to amp it up. These palettes are great for that. You could put down a really neutral, you know, matte satin kind of like eye look, and then just like add one of these shades, any one of them, and you'll get something very shimmery, something shiny, and something a lot more fun, let's say. So I do think it's possible to create an eye look with just the colors in here, but I don't think that if you're going for something kind of every day, I don't think that this palette is going to do it just for you. And so while I think you can make a look out of this quad, which I did today, which you'll see in the demo, I do think that this quad would make an excellent kind of like partner or auxiliary palette to something that maybe has a lot of neutrals, a lot of mattes, a lot of satins, and maybe you just want to amp up that look a little bit. I think that this palette, and all of the quads actually, which I will talk about when I do the other videos, but I think this quad is great for that. So I kind of love that about these quads, but it does make them a little bit impractical, if you will. But I do think the shades in here are really, really beautiful. In terms of working them, I do really like to use natural haired brushes, especially for shades like this, or my finger, which again, you'll see in the demo. But if I use like a synthetic haired brush like this, if I kind of go into the pans, I get a lot of kind of like kick up, and then I also feel like I get a lot of fallout. I think that they blend and they go on beautifully using synthetic or natural hair brushes, but I just don't find that I get fallout when I use natural haired brushes. And I also feel like I'm not losing a lot of product. Like I'm not just stabbing the pan and all this product is going everywhere. The natural hair brushes, they just grip onto the product a lot better than synthetic hairs. Now this shade up here is like the grittiest and the chunkiest out of the 4. These 3 are smoother than this one for sure. So this one I like to use with my finger. And again, that's what I did, and you'll see in my demo. And you'll see, and I pointed out in the demo, that I really just didn't get any fallout. I got a little bit of fallout with this glittery shade, but you know, it just kind of landed on my eyelashes, and that was it. It wasn't like all over my face. So I definitely recommend using natural hair brushes or your finger with these kinds of shadows. So the one comparison swatch I wanted to do, because I personally was curious, and I feel like this is probably the one shade that people were most curious about, is this Bordeaux color. It is the Blitz Bordeaux color, and I wanted to compare it to this red color in the Bronze Seduction Mothership. This one is much lighter and brighter, but let me go ahead and swatch them. So it's also smoother feeling in the pan. That particular red shade in the Bronze Seduction is so smooth, like super, super smooth. So here's the Bronze Seduction red. So you can see it's kind of just like a bright kind of primary red, and then there's like a little bit of a duochrome. And then here's the Blitz Bordeaux, and it's deeper. It's a little bit cooler in tone, and it has, you guys can probably see it, but it has kind of like that black moody base to it. So I think very, very different, especially on lids. I feel like when I apply the red, and again, you'll see this in the demo. Sorry, I keep saying that. You'll see this in the demo, but the red, it really like the dark kind of like black base to it really kind of like comes through, and it really makes for a smoky kind of look, where this, I don't really get smoky when I use this color. This just gives me a lot of color. So I've had these palettes for a while now, and so I've used this one probably the most out of all three, because the last one I got most recently. The second one, which I'll be talking about in my next video, is like the boldest and the brightest. It's the one that has the blues and the greens and the purple. So I've been using this one the most out of the three. And I have to say that the quality is there. It's not like they're any different from the Mothership palettes. Very, very similar. Again, if you liked the ones in the Mothership palette, you're really going to enjoy these. And I happen to love those shadows in the Mothership palette. I think it's really what makes Pat McGrath eyeshadow palettes really stand out. Like, I enjoyed her 6-pan and all of her other ones because, you know, they're still very good quality, but they're a little bit more typical, a little bit, you know, less special. These I find to just be so special and so unique, and like the impact is there, the longevity is there. It's not like these fade. It's not like I start to see fallout as the day goes on. That doesn't happen. I just think they're wonderful, wonderful quality. So let's go ahead and jump into the demo. All right, I'm gonna start with this color down here. I have my Sonia G Detail Pro brush. So it's just like really an oversized blending brush. Here's a blending brush that's like more of a normal size. And I want to apply just a really light wash of this color all over. So I'm going into that orangey shade. It is called Bronze Gold 003. And I'm going to sweep this all over. Just gonna work that top edge there. Make sure it's softened a bit. And surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, when I use a brush like this Sonia G one, I don't get any fallout. So I don't know if you guys can see, but I have like zero fallout from that shade, which is really, really surprising when it comes to shadows of this appearance, I guess you could say. When they're like this glittery and this shiny, you can usually expect a little bit of fallout, but I really have very good luck with natural haired brushes. They tend to grip the pigment better than synthetic haired ones. All right, I have that all over the lid, and I want to bring it down underneath my lower lash line. So I want to make it kind of blown out on the bottom, just like the top two. So I'm trying to find just the right, actually, I think this blending brush that I held up just before would be okay. This is the Esom the Esom S33 brush. And I'm gonna go into that same color and just drag it really kind of haphazardly along my lower lash line. Now I'm going to use this red shade and just kind of start to build a little bit of dimension. I'll add it to my outer corner. I'll throw it into my socket line a little bit. I still want to keep it kind of light, so I'm going to use another very fluffy blending brush, but not quite as fluffy as this Sonia Detail Pro. It's close though. This is the Esom G34, and I'm gonna go into that red shade and place this on the outer corner and bring it in. So that adds quite a bit of drama. I'm gonna add a little bit more of this red up here. I have a little bit of eczema going on this lid, so it's not the shadow, it's my skin. It's a little bit textured, and it looks kind of lumpy. Sorry, that's such a gross word. It looks kind of lumpy, and that's the eczema that's kind of popping out over here, not the shadow. But I'm just trying to get it to look a little bit more even. I feel like maybe this side it looks a little bit deeper right over here. I'm going to take that S33 brush and I'm going to go into the red also, and I'm going to drag that along my lower lash line, but just focus it on the outside, maybe the outer half. Then I'm going to take my Esom W36 brush. I'm going to go into the brown now, and I'm just going to add this just a teensy bit to the outer corners here. Just to make it look a little bit smokier. And then again, taking that S33 brush, going to the brown and just adding that just a little bit to the outer corner here, just to kind of tie in the top portion and the bottom portion. Now I'm going to take my finger and go into this shade. This is the Astral Gold Allure color, and because it's the chunkiest, it's like the most glittery, I'm gonna use my finger because I really want to press it onto my lid, and I really just, well, we'll see what happens, but I want to try and focus it onto the center portion of my lid. But you guys know, once I start my finger application, it always gets a little messy, so let's see what happens. I put it right in the middle there. This is such a beautiful shade. It makes any shadow underneath it look like it's gold foiled. It's just incredible. That one definitely has a bit of fallout. I can see it like kind of landing on top of my eyelashes here. Let's stick some of this right into the inner corner here. I have to... Okay, there is the eyeshadow applied. I feel like I'm ready for a party. All right, I'm gonna kind of clean myself up, you know, finish up my makeup, maybe do something a little bit better with my hair, and I will be right back. All right, here is my completed look. I added the Pat McGrath Leatherette lipstick, which I love for the fall winter season, and I think it went really well with this eye look. And yeah, I look super like gothy vampy all of a sudden. I don't know if I was going for that, but I kind of love it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.